What did the culture you grew up in stress as important skills or tasks? In my home growing up, it was important to do homework. My parents didn't really care about our grades as much as they cared that we didn't just have bad grades because we are lazy. And so something that was really important was just finishing up our homework assignments, which wasn't too bad. For me, being someone who's a perfectionist, it required a lot, because I personally wanted to do well, and I also had friends that valued education as well. So I kind of grew up in a culture in high school where I had academically minded friends, which I think helped me a lot to care a lot more than my other siblings who struggled turning assignments in on time, and was a main source of contention between them and my parents because they did not care about school. They didn't have friends that cared about school or anything like that. So they grew up in a different friend group and culture at school than I did, that didn't foster school, the education, the value of education. And then, so what alternative cultural emphasis have you seen in other settings? So my best friend, her family were Filipino and came from a really hard background where they had to start from ground zero. They moved to America, and so they want their kids to be successful. They came here to fulfill the American dream, and so they did not want their kids to start off like they did. And so they, instead of just getting classes done, they emphasized on critical thinking, developing vocabulary, and all of that. And so my friend had to take all these classes, for SAT, ACT prep, and then also she had to read every single morning for an hour on top of her other homework. She also was put into higher math classes as well, than what was required for her age. But it was just interesting, to see the difference, and I feel like she truly got to develop her brain, whereas for me it wasn't as much of a priority. So I had to learn that later on in life, and how to really actually learn instead of just memorize things. And the type of education that was important, her family were really strict on actually getting good grades to provide a good opportunity for college, whereas my family was like, you tried your best, I just care that you tried. And so it was just different. What was my reaction to the Japanese expectations for children? I think it's great. I am such a teacher. I would rather teach someone than to do it for them all the time, because it just helps them in life, and I love setting people up for success. So I love that philosophy. I do not think it would work here in America because of all the human trafficking. Kids would get stolen more than they do in their own homes anyway, when they're not walking on the streets and playing in their backyards and things like that. And so it's really sad, but I just don't think America has a low enough crime rate to make that possible. And people don't care about people. Everyone is more mindful about their own lives, and there's just a lot more crime rate to protect kids that aren't mine. I would, but for myself, but it's just not as common. Whereas I saw a video the other day how Japan has a culture of my kid is your kid, and that's why they're safe, and that's why it's a very low crime rate. So yeah, those are my thoughts.